It is Thursday, the 21st of January 2021. Well, yesterday didn't exactly go the way many of us hoped it would, and many pundits predicted it would. Did it? Joe Biden inaugurated as the 46th President of the United States. Who would ever have believed it? It was a bit of a gloomy day yesterday. The weather here in the UK was stormy and dismal, and it kind of suited the mood of the occasion. I didn't watch the inauguration myself, couldn't bring myself to go through it, but people have reported on what happened, and by all accounts it was another satanic ritual along the lines of the Grammys or the Super Bowl or any of these big shows with huge TV audiences. Lady Gaga was there performing a satanic ritual in her usual dark occult get-up, Apparently Bill and Hillary Clinton were to be seen as well, which is not something we would have expected based on things that we've been told. So it appears that evil just keeps on winning. The darkness just keeps on getting the other hand. Where is good? Where is God? When is our side going to start winning? Well, it was, of course, disappointing, and it does mean that we're now back to us, the people, having to put down tyranny, put down evil ourselves via our own means. There are some mechanisms in place already, which have been the case for several weeks. There's Rainer Fulmich, the German-American lawyer, who's taking legal cases out against the German government and many others. There's the situation with Christopher James of A Warrior Calls, who I'm going to be interviewing in a few days. Watch out for a Good Vibration show on that. He's out there in Canada, and he's a common law expert, and he's looking to re-establish common law all around the world, and to use it to hold to account many of these criminals in government that have been causing great harm and loss to untold millions of people. Also, I'm looking to interview Dolores Cahill as well, who's got some great initiatives going. I see she launched one this week, which is basically a travel company involving flights to holiday locations, which are going to be entirely free of any of these draconian restrictions like the requirement for vaccination or temperature checks or testing or all this nonsense, masks and all the rest of it. You're going to be able to travel freely, just like we have a right in creation to do. So we're back to us having to find our own ways of doing things rather than relying on it being done to us. And to be fair, this is something that I've advocated all along these past several months. Even though I've taken an interest in what's happening in America with Trump and that whole team, I have never advocated that people put all their eggs in one basket and just hold out hope for that thing coming through. Of course, I've hoped that it would come to something, but it's always a mistake to not have other options available to you. So that's where we're at now. Having said that, it's not to say that things might not yet still happen in the States, and it's not to say that now Biden has taken office, that's the end of the show. There are some unanswered questions which remain. For instance, why in his final days in office did Trump sign so many executive orders? Why did he bring in an act which I think very few people have seen? I'll try and get the visual of it and post it if I can. A friend sent it to me. Why did he pass an act making it a crime to conduct pandemic scams? That's the wording in this particular act. Pandemic scams. Remind you of anything? Why did he endure 4 years of savaging and vilification by the mainstream press, putting his family in harm's way of the many enemies that he made? Why would he do that if just to walk away at the end of this 4-year term? And most importantly, why did he assemble so much evidence with the help of Lynn Wood, Sidney Powell and others of the obvious election fraud that took place to enable Joe Biden to take office? There is multiple evidence available to show that this election was stolen. My daughter has a friend on TikTok who is about 10, and she was having a conversation with her yesterday. And this 10-year-old girl that she corresponds with said, everyone knows Joe Biden stole that election. This girl is in America, And, kids there are talking about the fact that Biden is not the legitimate winner of that election. So there's widespread knowledge of this. So the whole thing is not over yet, and there are some more revelations yet to come. More unanswered questions. What was going on in the Vatican the other week? Why was the Vatican in total blackout? Why were there roadblocks everywhere? Why does the place appear to have been emptied? What's happened to all the cardinals and all the Catholic priests? Why have so many heads of government resigned or stepped down over the past few days around the world? Last time I looked, there were 8 or 10 governments just within days of each other, which have walked out or stepped down, are no longer there. What is the truth of what's happened to the royal family? We still don't have adequate explanations. Where is the Queen? Why is Buckingham Palace empty? I don't buy that it's just for getting some new carpets and curtains fitted. Where's Prince Philip? Where's Prince Charles? These questions have to be thrown into the mix as well. So I don't know how things are going to pan out. I've always said that. I'm not one of these pundits that says next Tuesday you can expect this, and on the 20th at 12 midday there's going to be a blackout and 10 days of darkness. How many pundits have you heard over the past few days putting that level of detail on things and telling you what's going to happen on a particular date? And how many of their predictions have come to pass? Exactly. That's why I don't do the punditry. I will admit that I don't know what's going to happen. All I'm saying is that though it looks dark, though it looks bleak for those of us that have studied this whole escapade with great interest and great detail, Joe Biden, bloody President of the United States, it doesn't necessarily stop here. And we've had such a wild, surreal ride through 2020 and the early days of 2021 that I've come to accept that anything is possible, and things that you would previously have thought outlandish and fantastic and just not possible of coming into manifestation have. So it's a case of continuing to hold tight and keep the faith. I know that's a phrase that's been much overused in recent days. I'll offer a little bit of advice that's been working for me over the past few very stressful weeks. I've always traditionally been a planner, so at this point in any given year previously, in the before times, I would have the first 6 months of the year mapped out. My diary would be full with all my events, all my gigs that I'm going to be attending. I'd have family holidays in there, other occasions, other events, social occasions would all be in the diary by now, leading up to about June. One of the most useless purchases you can have made would have been a 2020 or a 2021 diary. You may as well throw them in the bin. They're not going to be of any use because planning is now off the table for the time being, because none of us know what's going to happen and what we're going to be physically able to achieve. So I've had to learn to literally take one day at a time and not think past today. There's so much stress, there's so much anxiety around, there's so much uncertainty that the very best advice that's been given to me that I can pass on is just take one day at a time. Worry about today, think about the things you're going to do right now, live in that now moment. And you can even take it further than that and just worry about the next hour, which in many cases is easier to achieve. Just worry about what you're doing now, what you're going to do in the next, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and don't think beyond that. Don't plan beyond that, because you know what it's like. You make plans now and you have to cancel them because unexpected circumstances come along. So it's 1 hour at a time, 1 day at a time, whatever works for you. It's working for me. Yesterday obviously was a big disappointment. It will be interesting to see how many of these pundits who promised us that Biden would not take office, that Trump was going to prevent it from happening, Biden was going to be arrested, the military were going to take over. I mean, I have heard the suggestion that America is now under a military federal government, that the normal governmental institution has been suspended and that the Biden inauguration is all for show. That may well be the case. But other than that, developments may come over the next few days. But I'm not going to predict what they are because pundits always get things wrong and I don't want to be in that camp. I'm pretty much the same as everyone watching this. I don't know what's going to happen. I've got my hopes. I've got my visions of what I would like to see occur. But it's not over yet, and we have to continue doing all that we can which has always been the case. That's never gone away. We should never have just kicked back and left it to Trump, left it to Q. That's never been something I've advocated. So it's back on us now to get the whole job done. And today's lyric that comes to mind is from Wookie, out of the Soul to Soul camp, a UK garage track from 20 years ago called Battle. It goes, every day is like a battle, but we'll overcome.